Stack of plates. This is a very interesting question, and this question is asked in one of the famous companies during the interview process. So the question statement says that imagine a literal stack of plates. So if the stack gets too high, it might topple. Therefore, in real life, we would like to start a new stack when the previous stack exceeds some threshold. So we need to implement a data structure which is called set of stacks that mimics this. So set of stacks should be composed of several stacks and should create a new stack once the previous one exceeds capacity. Set of stacks.push and set of stacks.pop should behave identically to a single stack. That is, pop should return the same value as it would if there were only just one single stack. So this means that when we are calling pop method, it has to return the top element from the last stack in this case. So here we have follow-up case over here, so we need to implement a function, pop add function, which performs a pop operation on a specific substack. So based on the index, if we call pop add function, in this case it has to pop the element from the stack that we are mentioning over here in the index. So let's look at this question in real life. So let's say we have stack of plates like this. So this stack is composed of 5 plates. So let's say that if I want to put one more plate on the top of these plates over here, it might topple like this. So I don't want to make our plates to be broken, so that's why I'm going to create a new stack over here and place all other plates over here. So in this case our threshold is 5. So our plates is kind of like this, that more than 5 plates together it might topple. So we said that the threshold is 5. So if you put the 6 plates, it might topple. In this case the solution is to create a new stack over here. So after putting 5 plates over here, one more time, when I reach the threshold, I need to create a new stack over here and insert all plates to these new stacks over here until we reach the threshold. So our stacks in this question has to mimic this process over here. So whenever we are calling the pop method, it should behave that these are one stack. So this means that it should return the top element from the last stack over. So when I call the pop method, it should remove the top element from the last stack like this. Now, as I said, this is a very interesting question and this is very challenging. So let's head over to Java and create our solution over there. First, we are going to create the stack class for only the one stack over here. Then we are going to combine them in the set of stacks class. So let's head over to Java. Now here we are going to implement solution to the stack of plates problem. Now here, the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to create a node in which we will have references to the above element in the stack and to the below element in the stack. And here we will have value. So it's kind of similar to the linked list node. In the linked list, we were creating previous reference and next reference and value in the node. So here we are going to create a reference to the above element, below element, and the value of node in this case. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to create a new file with the name of stack node. So here I'm going to create a class for this stack node over here. So the class will be like this, public class stack node. So here inside this class, the first reference will be above reference. So this also will be type of the stack node, because in the above of the given node will be another node. So this is going to be the type of stack node. So I'm going to name it above. Then I'm going to just copy it from here and pass it for creating below node. So here in any given node, we will have a connection to the above node and below node in this case. Then another property will be the value of this node. So in any node in this stack over here, we will have value. So in this case, I'm going to set the type of value to integer. Inside the constructor of this class, I'm going to set the value of this stack over here. So it's going to be like this. Stack node will take as a parameter integer value, and it's going to set like this. This value is equal to value that comes from this parameter over here. Now with this, we have successfully created our stack node over here. Now based on this stack node over here, we are going to create stack class and we will use these nodes in our stack over there. So I'm going to create a new class which is called stack. So inside this file, I'm going to create stack class. So based on this stack class, we are going to create set of stack class in which we will have several stacks in our case. So first we need to create a class for a single stack, then we are going to create set of stacks in another class. So here I'm going to declare our class like this, public class stack. So inside this stack we are going to have value of capacity, and we are going to have top node and bottom node, and we are going to have the size of this stack over here. So I'm going to declare it like this, private int capacity of stack, then public stack node, which is the stack node class over here, will be top. So we are going to have in this node the top element, and then we are going to another one in which we will have bottom element, because we need track of this, because when we are creating push and pop methods, in this case we are going to need these nodes over here. So that's why I'm creating top and bottom. Then another variable over here will be public int size of the stack. So in this case initially the size of stack sets to 0. Then inside constructor I'm going to initialize the capacity of the stack. So it's going to come from the parameter. So I'm going to set this capacity to the capacity that comes from the parameter. So based on this capacity, we are going to identify the size of the stack. And because, as we said before, we need to identify the threshold. So in this case, this capacity parameter will identify our threshold. So for example, if we set this one to 5, so after 5 elements, it's going to create a new stack and insert elements to these new stacks over here. So by doing so, we are going to prevent tuple of elements from the stack that we have over here. So then the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to start to create our methods over here. Now the first method will be isFull method. So we know that isFull method returns the Boolean value. So if it is full, it's going to return true, otherwise it's going to return false. So how can we identify that if this stack is full or not? So we are going to identify it based on the capacity. So as we said, for example, in one stack we will have 5 elements. So if the size is reached to this capacity, it means that it's full. So I'm just going to quickly write it like this. So it's going to return capacity is equal to size. So this means that if the capacity is equal to size, it's going to return true, otherwise it's going to return false. Now the next method that I'm going to write, I'm going to create a new method which is called join method. This join method is responsible for joining above and below nodes together. So this is kind of helper method which will be used in our push and pop methods. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to do it like this: public void join. So it's obvious that it's going to take 2 parameters. So the first parameter will be above and the second parameter will be below, and both parameters types will be stack node. So because we are joining the 2 nodes together, stack node above and stack node below. So how can we join these nodes together? So this means that below nodes above reference has to point to above node, and above nodes below the reference has to point to below node. So in this case, I'm going to write if condition like this. So if below node is not equal to null, so this means that we can create a connection from below node to above node. So in this case, I'm going to put below dot above is equal to above. With this, we are creating a link from below node to above node. Then I'm going to write another if condition like this: if above is not equal to null. So this means that we can create a link from above to below. So in this case, above dot below will equal to below. Now with these 2 lines of code, we are joining these 2 nodes together. Because in this case, when we are creating stack node, we have references over here which points to above and below node. So above node will point to the below node, and below node has to point to above node in this case also. So with this, we have created join method. Now we are going to use join method in our push method over here. So what I'm going to do in this case, I'm going to create a new method which we'll call push method. So in this case, our push method will return Boolean value. So in this case, if we have successfully inserted an element to this stack over here, it's going to return true, otherwise it's going to return false. So if we have reached the capacity, in this case, instead of returning any message over here, I'm just going to return false. Otherwise, if we have successfully inserted element to this stack over here, we are going to return true. So in this case, it's going to be push, and it will take as a parameter integer value. So I'm going to put it as v. So if size is greater or equal to capacity, in this case we are going to return false because we cannot insert any element to this stack over here. Otherwise, we are going to increase the size by 1, and we are going to create a new node and insert this new node to this stack over here. So it's going to be like this: stack node n is equal to new node, new stack node, with the value of v that comes from here. Then we have to insert this element to this stack over here. So it means that we are going to check that if the size is equal to 1, it means that this is the first element we are inserting over here. So we have to set the bottom of this stack to this n that we created over here. So here, instead of n, let me just put it new node. So if size is equal to 1, it means that this is the first element we are inserting over here. So this means that bottom of this stack has to be new node over here. So first element will be the bottom element in our stack over here. After doing so, we have to join this new element with the top element. So we know that in case of stack, when we are inserting new element, this new element will be located at the top of the previous top element. So in this case, I have to put it like this, join. So first we know that it should be the above node, so new element will be located at the above of the previous top node. So I'm going to put it like this, new node top. So with this new node will be located on this top node over here. So this new node becomes top element in this case by joining them. Then I have to set this new node to this top over here, because after inserting this new node becomes the top of this array. Then at the end, we are going to return true. So with this, we have successfully completed push method in this case. So what we are doing over here is, first we are checking that if we have reached the capacity, we are returning false. Otherwise, we are increasing the size of stack, and we are creating a new node and checking that if we don't have any element in this stack, it means that this is the first node. So we are setting bottom of this stack to this new node, and then we are going to continue adding this new node on the current top value. So current top element is the top. So you know that in the join method, the first element is above element. So we are putting this new node as above element, and we are inserting it on the top of the current top element, and new node becomes the top element of this stack over here. Now after doing so, the next method that I'm going to create pop method. So we know that in case of stack, pop method removes the top element from the stack and returns the top element. So in this case, our pop method will return type of integer. So it's in this case not going to take any parameters. So here I'm going to first check that if this stack is empty, in this case I'm going to raise empty stack exception. So to call empty stack exception, I just need to import it over here. So before declaring our class, I'm going to put it like this, import java.util.empty stack exception. So I'm going to use this exception. So as you see here, I have not created isEmpty method. That's why instead of creating isEmpty method, I'm just going to raise the exception over here. So here I'm going to check it like this. So if the top element is null, in this case, we don't have any element in our stack. This means that this stack is empty. So I'm going to do it like this. If top is equal to null, in this case, it's going to throw new empty stack exception. Otherwise, we are going to create a new value in which we will have the result value, which is the value of the top element. So here I'm going to put it result. So it's going to be the type of integer. So result integer result is equal to top.null value. So we are going to remove this element from the stack. Then I'm going to set the element that's located below the top element to top over here. So in this case, the top element will be removed from the stack over here. So by this line of code, the element that is located below the top element becomes the top element. Then size should be decreased by 1, because in this case, we are removing one element from the stack. And at the end, I'm going to return result. Now with this, we have completed implementation of stack class over here. Now before continuing to the creating of the set of stacks, so let's see our methods works correctly in practice or not. So inside main class over here, I'm going to create an instance of this stack over here, and to see that how this is working. So stack new stack will equal to new stack. For example, let's set the capacity 3. So then I'm going to call isFull method, and I'm going to print out the output to the console and run our code. So here we have an error, so we should not have dot over here, so I just removed it. So if I run our code one more time, now you see that when we call isFull method, it returns false. This means that our stack is not full over here. Now the next method that I'm going to check, I'm going to just insert some elements over here by calling push method. For example, I'm going to put it something like this. Let's put 1, 2. Then inside print statement, I'm going to call pop method just for one element to see that how this is working. So if I run our code, now you see that we have successfully inserted 2 elements to the stack. Then when we call pop method, it is returning top element from this stack over here. Now everything is successfully working with this stack over here. Now based on this stack class over here, we are going to create set of stack class, which is a solution to the problem of stack of plates. Now let's continue to create set of stack class in the next lecture. So see you over there.